And welcome to Hannity. We start with this Fox News alert. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon found guilty, no surprises here, on 2 misdemeanor charges after refusing to cooperate with the sham January 6th committee. Now, this is the first time a person has been found guilty of contempt of Congress charges since G. Gordon Liddy in 1974. They didn't even put on a defense. Take note, by the way, if you're a Republican, you're a Trump supporter, yes, the all-powerful January 6th committee will drag you to court, send you to jail if you refuse to cater to their every whim. There's a lot more behind this. If you're a Clinton lawyer named Michael Sussman, you get accused credibly of lying to the FBI, a jury of Clinton donors. They're going to clear you of all charges, and you'll get away scot-free. If you're Eric Holder and obstruct justice, and obstruct Congress, rather, no charges, no jail time, no fine. We don't have equal justice or application on our laws. We'll have a lot more on this coming up later in the program. Also tonight, this is a pretty unbelievable story. Woman suing a man. He didn't show up for a date. She's suing him. And while the court proceeding is going on, she gets in a huge fight with the judge. Here's a preview.
You have to lay,
do not insult my
you have to lay your complaint out. You have to allege this in the complaint. You have not.
You're going to love this entire tape. Plus, New York Republican gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin will join us in just a few minutes. Now, last night, the GOP hopeful and sitting congressman was viciously attacked on stage during a campaign event by a man with a deadly weapon. Watch this.
There's only one option. No. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done.
That weapon could have gone right to the carotid, right to his heart. Thankfully, Zeldin was able to grab the attacker's wrist. It was a very quick move on his part and prevent serious injury before being pulled to the ground following the incident. Congressman Zeldin tweeted, quote, "The attacker's words as he tried to stab me a few hours ago, 'You're done.' But several attendees quickly jumped into action, tackled the guy." Zeldin continued, quote, "The attacker will likely be instantly released under New York's law." Now, anyway, Zeldin was right, because shortly after the perpetrator was arrested, he was immediately released from jail after posting $0 in bail on his own recognizance. Zero. He tried to kill a public official. So let me get this straight. In New York State, a person can assault a public figure, a sitting congressman, a gubernatorial candidate, try and kill a sitting congressman and a gubernatorial candidate with a deadly weapon, and the state is more than happy to let the attacker waltz right out of jail, no bail, on their own recognizance. That's okay. This is shameful. It is dangerous. New Yorkers, you should be mortified. Even worse, Kathy Hochul, are you okay with this? Does this sit well with you? Is this your policy that you support? Now, last night, the state's far-left governor pretended to be outraged by the attack on Twitter. But prior to the assault, it was Hochul's campaign emailing her supporters with every location, all the dates, all the times of every Lee Zeldin upcoming campaign events, and suggested that the Republican candidate was an extremist. Even today, after an assassination attempt, Hochul had her stalker supporters following Lee Zeldin. Now, of course, we're not blaming Governor Hochul for the actions of a deranged individual, but you would think after such an attack that maybe Hochul and her fellow Democrats might not send their supporters to follow Lee Zeldin and maybe start acknowledging that political violence and extremism that's coming from the left. And maybe they could publicly denounce the doxing, the stalking, the harassment that they're incentivizing. They're telling people where to go and what time to go. Regardless of the target's political affiliation, they can stop excusing, for example, arson, looting, vandalism, violence against the police. Maybe we can bring back bail laws in New York State. And for the love of God, you would think they could please start prosecuting violent offenders, stop letting them out of jail immediately without bail. And it's interesting, Zeldin released this ad yesterday before the attack even took place. Take a look.
But Alvin Bragg has time and again protected criminals at the expense of law-abiding citizens. Using cashless bail and his own lawless policies, Bragg has put violent criminals back on our streets and has turned neighborhoods into danger zones. And where is Kathy Hochul? Despite the pleas of New Yorkers, Hochul has refused to use her authority as governor to fire Bragg.
It's not the role of the governor to make those local decisions.
Now, by the way, that's the same DA that charged this guy, Jose Alba, the guy that was working in the store, the bodega worker, that the guy came around, assaulted him, pushed him, threw him to the ground, started attacking him. He defended himself, self-defense. They put that guy in Rikers. They charged him with second-degree murder until the public outcry got the charges dropped. For everyone in New York, around the country, sadly, what happened to Lee Zeldin is not uncommon. In the past decade, dozens of GOP lawmakers have been assaulted, including Senator Rand Paul, who will also join us in a moment. Congressman Steve Scalise, we know, was shot by Democratic activists. He nearly died in that shooting. In June, a man armed with a gun showed up to Justice Kavanaugh's front door with plans to assassinate him. And by the way, since May, 59 pro-life pregnancy centers have been attacked, vandalized, or lit on fire. By the way, as it relates to Supreme Court justices, they're still doxing these justices. They're still showing up at their homes, even though we have a law, U.S. Code 1507, says you're not allowed to go to a residence of a justice, a court officer, or a jurist in any way or where they work. Why isn't Merrick Garland enforcing that law? Let's not forget about the far-left riots also in the summer of 2020. Remember, Democrats, they either lied to us and said that they were mostly peaceful. They weren't. Or they denied it was even happening and said nothing. Or they came right out and supported them, like Kamala Harris. We lost dozens of Americans, thousands of police officers injured, billions in property damage. Instead of condemning this type of violence, well, we had some top Democrats, like, for example, Maxine Waters. You know, she was telling her supporters to harass Republicans in public. Kamala Harris promoting that bail fund for violent rioters after the police precinct was burned to the ground, said they're not going to stop. They shouldn't stop. Take note. Beware. Just to remind you.
They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And they're not, this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
Take note, beware. They're not going to let up, and they shouldn't let up. Chuck Schumer goes to the steps of the U.S. Supreme Court and threatens two Supreme Court justices by name, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, outside the Supreme Court. Nothing happens to him. Take a look.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
You will pay the price. You won't know what hit you. So if Democrats continue to support violent behavior, refuse to lock up violent offenders, what happened in New York last night, is that going to be a daily, weekly, monthly occurrence in every liberal state and city across the country? My next guest is now vowing to fix the broken system, at least in New York. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.